move to our third and final standing panel as we begin to bring this aircraft to its descent. Okay? So, speaking on the Nigerian capital markets, I'm going to introduce to you one of the students here doing our MBA at Oxford, Miss Ajibola Bolanle, who's going to moderate this session. There she is. Let's make her warmly welcome. And I'm going to call on for the third standing panel, as many of these lovely people who are here, please welcome them as they begin to come out. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Roosevelt Ogbonna, Mr. Bolaji Balogun I have seen, welcome sir. Ms. Chinelo Anohu, Owen Omogiafo, Shola David Boha, Mrs. Toyin Sani, Ibukun Adebayo, Papa Ndiaye, and Mr. Kumbo Ishmael. Let's welcome them warmly. And Mrs. Nimi Akikungbe as well, please. Thank you. Oh, Mimi Alamayo. Yes, forgive me. I keep crashing into this thing. Yes, please. Let's welcome them warmly as they come. Ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. I'll hand you some microphones. Every other one you can pass yours to her. Thank you, sir. That's it. Fabulous. And over to you, Jibola.
Thank you, everyone. I know it's going to take a minute to get everyone's attention after lunch, but a lot has been said with respect to leadership, with respect to policies, but capital market is extremely important. I've had the privilege of working a bit in that space, both at PricewaterhouseCoopers and also at the Sovereign Wealth Fund of Nigeria. So it's really important. The market is extremely important to the growth, the economic growth of Nigeria. So I have one question for you, distinguished panelists, industry experts that we have on stage. What is that one idea you have to make Nigerian capital market help the country unleash its potential? So just one.
Jibola, sorry, just before you continue, can we also have, forgive me, I'll just say the first names, Papa and Mimi, please, if they can come on stage as well. Let's warmly welcome them. I think it was easier to say that, you know yourselves. Thank you. Welcome. And once they're on stage, please, you can proceed. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Happy birthday, Arunma. You've achieved so much. You're such an inspiration. You and I spend a lot of time talking about this particular statement and subject. My name is Tokumbo Ishmael. I'm a private equity fund manager based out of Nigeria, a pioneer impact investment fund manager. And I wanted to lay that down first because what I'm about to say is related to how we invest for impact, how we invest for sustainable development. So we pay a lot of lip service to the fact that small and growing businesses are the engine of growth in Nigeria, indeed in Africa. And as the engine of growth, they don't get enough fuel. And we try and channel significant amounts of capital to them. And I say try because that money gets stuck in certain places. I'm not going to point fingers on the kinds of institutions that get indigestion on that money. But for me, the capital markets need to begin to play a role in connecting ordinary folk in Africa to the sources and pockets of money. And I say we play a lot of lip service because when I talk about impact, we're talking about how ordinary folk can have access to financial services, basic goods and services, health, education, energy, etc. But when we look at the amounts of money that are allocated, indeed, Minister Aganga spoke about the Sovereign Wealth Fund, and the target for, or destination for Sovereign Wealth Fund, disclosure, the Sovereign Wealth Fund is an investor in my fund. But the target for the Sovereign Wealth Fund, there needs to be allocations to social infrastructure. We're not seeing enough of that. And the Sovereign Wealth Fund can't do it alone. We know that it also needs to make money for the economy. So we need to see more on the capital markets. We've seen a start, an emergence of sustainable development bonds. Indeed, on Tuesday, I'll be launching some gender bonds in Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria. But a lot of that money comes from private sector still, not the capital markets. So we need to see mainstreaming of funding from the capital markets to the engines of growth. One thing that my firm does is we invest in gender-smart businesses, leveraging gender as a tool for superior performance. What we find in all the companies that we invest in is where they have the biggest shortage is energy. The energy costs are too high. And so we've been working with a number of firms to green their energy source. Indeed, one of our portfolio companies has started supplying hydrogen, green hydrogen, to other companies in their community. So it's possible. But to get that funding, they have to basically give their blood. And so if we're not seeing enough funding going to those types of people, we're not going to see the kind of transformation we want. The same with digital infrastructure. We're not seeing enough funding going into that. And the capital markets need to have specific types of instruments that enable the gender inclusion, that enable the greening of companies for energy efficiency and digital transformation, because that's what's going to enable Africa to reach its full potential.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Great start. But ladies and gentlemen, please, just for the sake of time, no reflection on you. Can I just remind you, standing panels, we don't want to keep you too long on your feet. Quick fire responses. What is your one idea to have to make Nigeria capital market, enable the country to unleash its potential? Just drawing your attention back to that. So thank you. Thank you so much.
I'm the last person on, so...
Feel free to give anyone the mic.
Okay, I'm happy to let other people speak. My name is Papa Njai, and I'm the founding partner of AFIC Funds. We're one of the first private equity funds targeting exclusively African entrepreneurs from about 15, 20 years ago. And I also serve as the chairman of EcoBank Transnational Incorporated. So the topic of Nigerian capital markets is one that I grapple with on a daily basis. The temptation for me is to give a relatively sophisticated answer. We're here at Oxford. We're trying to come up with intelligent responses. But actually, I'm going to say what I say on pretty much every bank board that I serve that is talking in Nigeria. The things that happen in Nigeria that Nigerians live with and struggle with are not normal. So my biggest idea is for Nigeria to normalize. Taking cash from banks and giving it to the central bank to manage is not normal. Having COVID come and ask financial institutions to contribute to the COVID kitty instead of being supported is not normal. If Nigeria does things normal, I think that's the best thing that it can do for itself. It's tempting to come up with new products, and we need the gender bonds because we need to sort of get that financial intermediation going. But I think the number one thing, if there was a committee of capital market normalization in Nigeria, it will be the best thing that can happen. Thank you.
Fabulous. Thank you.
Thank you. So happy birthday, my beautiful sister, AIM. That's what I call you. And I celebrate you. And I'm sure you can see that this gathering shows just what you mean to every single one of us and the impact that your 60 years on earth have had. And I know that this is an ongoing work. So God bless you. Now, I think the main idea that I have for the Nigerian capital market to unleash its potential is for us to recognize that the face of wealth is changing. The face of the wealthy Nigerian, the wealthy investor is changing. It's not the 60-year-old, 55-year-old that we think are the people that have the money. And to illustrate that, a pastor friend of mine called me on a Saturday morning and said, my son needs investment advice. And I said, how old is your son? He said, 23 years old. I remember I look at my calendar, including coming to Oxford. And ordinarily, to give my friend's son investment advice, that would be like a 2-month from today kind of scheduling. But then I just had a witness in my heart that I should give this young man attention. So I said, let him come over this morning before I set out on my Saturday outing. And then the young man comes in. He graduated from a Nigerian university at 19. He took up an international job. He's a computer engineer. He took up an international job. And this is 4 years down the line. He has relocated. He has moved on to another international job. He's relocated his family from where they were living to a more befitting accommodation, and he has a personal portfolio of about 500 million naira. He's 23. And then I start talking to him, because now I want to link it to the capital market, and I begin to tell him about my Eurobond funds since he earns dollars, and I begin to tell him about, and it's like we're not speaking the same language. He wants to invest in global stocks. He especially wants to invest in global tech stock, because he's a tech young man. And so bottom line is that we've got all these young people that are making incredible wealth. We've got all these young people who are in entertainment, who are in fashion, who are in technology, and we're not speaking the same language with them. So unfortunately, all that money is going to flow out of our market. So I thank God that our DG, not only is he here, but he's embracing digital assets and transformation. So we need to do this on steroids so that we can retain the interest of these young people who are doing incredible things and are making great wealth. Thank you very much.
Happy birthday, Arunma. Throughout my career in Stanbic, IBTC, and Standard Bank, we worked very closely with Arunma at SEC. And it was such a breath of fresh air, her coming in. She raised the standard of capital market regulation. And, together we were able to work to sort of improve and strengthen our capital markets. And one of the things we've always focused on is trying to expand access to capital markets to as many people as possible. And I think what needs to be done is to demystify the capital market. In any time you hear capital market, most people sort of just go blank. They think of all kinds of words that they don't understand. But, it can be demystified. And we've heard from earlier speakers about how the SME is a driver of growth in Nigeria and in Africa. So connecting the capital markets to that micro sector is key. And, it's creating more and more instruments that they can tap into. So more mutual funds, more unit trusts, and various instruments which they can participate in at a micro level will be the driver of growth in our country. Thank you very much.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mimi Alamayo. I'm a senior advisor at Three Cairns Group. It's a philanthropic investment firm in New York focused on sort of unlocking climate finance challenges throughout the world. One idea I have for Nigerian capital markets to enable the country to unleash its potential is really maybe continue what Papa said, is normalize Nigeria in the sense that Nigeria has 4,000 megawatts, I think, of functioning power, right? I always compare Nigeria to Brazil, which has similar population. Brazil has 150,000 megawatts. Compare that to 4,000, right? In spite of that, Nigeria has the best financial institutions. You have creative industries. It is the engine of the continent. So I always wonder, like, if Nigeria got its power act together, imagine the jobs for the youth that we could create, right? You need more industries to be listed in the capital markets. I love Aliko, but he can't be 30% of the capital markets in Nigeria. We need more industry. In order to create more industry, we need power. And His Highness the Emir knows this. I used to be at a Blackstone portfolio company. Blackstone literally gave us $5 billion to invest in power infrastructure. The first country we targeted was Nigeria. I'm so glad the former vice president is here because he helped us so much. We were working on a power plant in Osibanjo. It took, not Osibanjo, in Akwa Ibom. That's in Akwa Ibom. And one in Kano as well. A very big project, and was Blackstone's first kind of hooray into Africa. They had done a project in East Africa and Uganda. But it took so long to get to financial close. They got frustrated and they left. I'm not sure when Blackstone will come back again, right? But we felt like we lost this opportunity. The Emir was our chair of our board. Aliko was a JV partner to us to co-invest with us. And we always talk about this lack of bankable projects in the continent. And now I'm actually happy because I'm focused on that, using philanthropic capital to de-risk some of what you're doing, Arunma, at FSD. I know we're talking a lot about Nigeria, but I do want to mention my country, Ethiopia, because Ethiopia started its stock exchange January 8th. And in large part to Arunma at FSD, the board, they provided the TA. So it's possible. I see the potential of capital markets, but really, I honestly think power is everything. Power is the engine of industry. Nigeria has to fix its power. And I hope we can all do that.
I chose to speak last because I was going to do something quite different. I never listen to what I'm told, so I'll do more than one big idea, if you pardon me. First idea would be to teach every young Nigerian from the age of 10 financial education, and importantly, to teach them about compounding and duration. Second big idea, and a very simple one, is often Nigeria and Africa very much described as a dark continent. Nothing to do with the color of our skin, all about the opacity of financial information and the transparency of financial information. If I had the opportunity to, I would say that from the 1st of July this year, every single Nigerian government agency should use the capital markets in raising financing. If the NMPC, Nigeria's biggest opportunity, perhaps not problem, were to use the capital markets, I think we'd see a very significant change in behavior. Firstly, they'd have to audit their numbers and produce their numbers on time, like every good listed Nigerian company does. They might also have to get a rating, and that can be quite an invasive and intrusive process. It might one day provoke a young analyst, female analyst from Chapel Hill, Denham, who might ask why the cost-to-income ratio is significantly worse off than other national oil companies of size. But we may actually finally understand the full extent of Nigeria's NMPC. This is such an easy thing to get done. If you asked every Nigerian government entity to use the domestic capital markets for their naira or international capital markets from their dollars from the 1st of July, I think you'd be quite incredibly surprised by the transformative effect that it would have. And lastly, but very importantly, thank you, Arunma, for being an incredible friend, inspiration. Many of you will not know this, but a lot of the work that we've done around developments in Nigeria's capital markets have been egged on by her. I remember sitting next to her in Cape Town at a conference 10 years ago and complaining about Nigeria's infrastructure. And she said, do something. I'm very proud to say that today we're Nigeria's largest investor in infrastructure in the capital markets, in local currency, and that's just an example of the incredible inspiration or revving that she does for us. Many happy returns, sister.
We will.
Even though we didn't get the memo about green. And,
don't worry, there's lots of time to sing tonight. Did Papa want to say something?
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
I got suckered into the technicality of the question, and I forgot the thing that is more meaningful for me to say, which is to wish Arunma a happy birthday.
Fabulous. Thank you so much.
And secondly, to echo the sentiments, we need to get Africans together in fora where we can think. We're behind, and we have no time. So Arunma, thank you for being that type of inspiration. Every person here who's of some substance and significance, take this as an inspiration. Let's get all of us together and keep thinking.
Fabulous. Thank you. As a challenge. Any closing words from you, Jibola?
Yes, I think this has been really amazing. We want to say thank you. And I think most importantly, right, it is also very important for us, the young ones, because we're the future.
Yes.
So you saying all of this, I've worked in the space, I've seen you several at board meetings and all of that. But at the same time, it's also a beacon of hope that, you know, this can be done. We need to stop just talking about it, but doing it.
Fantastic.
So we would do our very best. And happy birthday, Ma, for giving us this very great platform to do this. And we'll do our very best to learn from you, take lessons, work together with you, and do what we have to do.
Thank you very much. Together we can make a difference. Ladies and gentlemen, they want to sing, but I will not allow them to sing because there is so much time for singing later. And right now, I know you all want to go, so let's sing them out. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're singing you out. Thank you. We appreciate you. Thank you, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, time is not our friend, so I'm going to call up very quickly our final sit-in panel. It's for the global capital markets. Please welcome to moderate that session a lovely lady. Believe it or not, we're from very different parts of the country, and we found out about a week ago that we grew up in the same city.
In the heart of the city where stories unfold, Changing Media TV shining bright and bold, bringing news from the corners of the globe, connects us together no matter